How do you order food for the office these days? How do you make sure it's on time and as ordered? How can you get it individually packaged? How? EasyCater. When you order on EasyCater.com, the food comes as ordered and on time 98% of the time. And when there's a problem, which is practically never,
Thank you for calling EasyCater.
you can reach someone in about 9 seconds. How do you order 24/7 from more than 80,000 restaurants? How? EasyCater. Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
These are the final seconds.
The lead in the fourth. Can they hold on to it?
That do or die time. And everything rides on one shot. But it isn't going to be that easy.
And it's a one-point game.
This is down to the wire.
They're going to try the three-point attempt.
One shot to take you to the top. One winner. This is clutch basketball. That's the NBA playoffs. That's game.
So we came up with this idea. Since we were able to unload Carson Wentz
Yes.
on Indianapolis, Indiana, maybe we could find a home for Ben Simmons there as well.
Why not?
Well, the spokesman for that entire state of Indiana and a brilliant coverer of the Colts for TheAthletic.com is a fine guest named Stephen Holder, who is out alive with us right now. Hi, Steve.
How are you doing?
Steve, listen, here's the latest rumor. Tell me if you're interested, because I think they could room together, Wentz and Ben Simmons. Indianapolis sends Malcolm Brogdon and Jeremy Lamb to Philadelphia, and you get Ben Simmons. Do you have interest, Steve?
I feel so lucky right now. Well, look, here's what I would say. All I can tell you is that this does remind me a little bit of the Paul George situation a few years ago here, because we had a wonderful young player here, Paul George, and part of it was, now obviously Ben Simmons has some holes in his game that Paul George probably did not, but one of the parallels between Paul George and the Ben Simmons situation here was Paul George seemed like he didn't want to be here, and very much like the people in Philly with Wentz, where Wentz didn't seem like he wanted to be there, people don't appreciate that, right? And so people are very much happy to see the guy go. The funny thing about it is he has flourished since he's left, and he's obviously a very elite player. Now, could the same outcome happen with Simmons? I think the Pacers would take that if they knew that would be the outcome. Unfortunately, you can't predict that, but it is interesting. That is a parallel there that I find to be very, very interesting about those two situations.
All right, Steve, I'm taking that as a yes. All right, so make the proper calls and make this happen. Here's the deal. I got to be honest, Steve. I know, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the Midwest, but I never thought anyone would want to leave Indianapolis. I thought it was a great place for a player, a little less pressure. There are malcontents in your part of the country too.
Yeah, I mean, there definitely are, yes, but I think it's interesting because of what you just said. I think it's a town where if you embrace the town embraces you, and that is, I think, something that people didn't feel with the Paul George situation, as I outlined. I mean, he was in, he was out. Oh, I want to be here. Well, then why won't you commit to signing the contract? So he wanted to have it both ways, and I think people saw that, and especially, and when you're talking about a smaller market, people are used to getting snubbed, and it's like, whoa, why can't you get a big fish in NBA free agency? Oh, we're a small market, and so people, they're very sensitive to that, and so when you don't want to be here, people take that really personally and say, well, get the hell out of here. But if you embrace the town, and this is a similar thing with Victor Oladipo, very much the same outcome there. People were like, all right, this guy's not really wanting to be here, but he wants to be liked, but he doesn't really want to love us, And so I think that's where this boils down to. And that's why with Carson Wentz, look, people are willing to forget whatever happened in Philly. If he embraces Indy and he plays well, obviously, that being the caveat, then people here are going to love him. So we'll see. He's got a chance. It's up to him to do his part.
Just if you could pass the word out for us, Steve, we are not forgetting what he did in his final days in Philadelphia.
I'm surprised. to hear that.
Hold on, Steve. Stop being sarcastic here. We hate Carson Wentz. And what he did this week made it worse. He has now discovered a new passion for football in Indianapolis. How do you think that played here, Steve?
I imagine not very well.
Can you imagine that? The guy wouldn't talk for 3 months, and now he goes to Indy, and in a few weeks, he's found his love for football again? Help me with that.
Look, all I can tell you is, I mean, it's a version of something he's kind of been saying all along, which is in different words, in different terminology. He has said since he got here that, that this has kind of renewed his passion, and he's said it in different ways already. I don't know why that is, and I'm not sure why he didn't have that zeal last season or any time in recent seasons, or if he didn't have it at all. I don't know. I can't answer that, but he definitely seems to have said a version of this before, and maybe said it more strongly this time. But why is that? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, his words aren't going to matter. He's going to have to show it on the field, and that's the bottom line. But I don't blame you. I imagine that did not play very well in your part of Pennsylvania.
Steve, I'll tell you why, because we kind of thought a $100 million contract would renew some of the passion, but clearly it didn't. Here's what I need to know, because I want you to understand that this city, at least me and many of the people in this city, are hoping nothing but bad things for Carson Wentz in Indy. So here's what I need to ask you, all right? What's it like? I mean, is there pressure there? Andrew Luck was a great quarterback. Did he face adversity? The fans turn against him. What kind of environment is Wentz going into in Indy?
I think here's the deal. I think the expectations are not going to be what they would be for, a guy who, say, was drafted number 2 overall by the Colts, right? Because it's a different situation, right? He's coming in with a lower bar because he didn't play well. Now, that doesn't mean he can play like he did last year. I mean, the Colts are invested here. Okay, they gave up a first and a third. They're paying him decent money. Look, they're invested, and they need to make this work. At the same time, they didn't have a damn quarterback, so they were kind of desperate, and maybe desperate's the wrong word, but they were definitely in a situation, okay, a little bit of a bind. So on the one hand, yeah, the Colts are a team that they're ready to win. They got a really, really good roster. Outside of quarterback, I love their roster, and I think they're a team that with a top quarterback, they're contending in the AFC right now, I think. That's how good their roster is. But the quarterback is the question. There's no doubt about that. The quarterback is the question. I think he's potentially going to be good enough, but is he going to be elite? Is he going to be really good? That I can't tell you. I think he can be productive. I think Frank Reich is excellent. I think he could not be in a better situation. And he's got a really good team around him, right? So he has everything going for him.
I love this,
but
Steve.
To your question, though, you said, is there pressure? I will say this. He has, if he doesn't make it work here, he has no excuse. This is the absolute best possible situation Carson Wentz could ever want.
I love it. Steve, to me, that's pressure. You just described pressure.
Yeah.
They got a great roster. The only question mark is the quarterback. He better show up. It's going to be fun to watch. I got to ask you about the guy we ended up getting from you, Nick Sirianni. Steve, I'll tell you how this has played out. Initially, man, bumpy start. But lately, people are warming up to him. All right? What are we getting here, Steve? You knew him pretty well, right? Is he going to be a good head coach? What's your guess on him?
So the two things that I think are going to work in Nick's favor are the following. The guy is very, very smart. Now, that didn't come across in the press conference when he first got there. I know. I watched it. It was bad, okay? That was a car crash. It was bad. And I think he knows it, too. I mean, even people in the Colts I talked to, they're like, yeah, that didn't go so well. And they're rooting for him, But I think he's really smart, and he first of all, both as in terms of relating to people and dealing with players, and he's also just a smart football mind, too. So he's got that going for him. The other thing is the guy really knows how to teach football and how to reach the players. That's something that I got from players here. They loved playing for this guy. They really, really loved playing for him. And look, Frank Reich called the plays on Sundays and all of those things, of course. And of course, he wasn't the head coach. But because Frank Reich was the head coach, a lot of the offensive day-to-day work it fell on Sirianni. So I mean, he did a lot of what is going to be asked of him as the head coach, an offensive head coach, right? So I don't think this is a huge leap. I mean, there's no question that he's going to be under a lot of scrutiny, but I actually think he's got a chance, and it's really going to boil down. It always boils down to talent in this league. Will he have the talent to get it done? And certainly he's got to deal with the quarterback situation, but I think he has a chance, and I don't think anybody should just completely write him off. Is it a tough job? Oh, hell yeah, you know that. But I'm telling you, I think Nick is a great coach, and I think he's got a shot. It's just going to boil down to whether he's got enough to get it done, I think.
Steve, I think we've accomplished a lot here. We made the trade. You now have Simmons. And it sounds like you understand very well exactly what the pressure is on Carson Wentz. Will he buckle? It'll be fun to watch. Steve, I'm going to be calling you from time to time because you're an awesome guest and you really know what you're talking about. Thank you so much.
Hey, anytime. I appreciate it.
Stephen Holder, theathletic.com. That guy's good, Al. He really knows that stuff.
Well, thanks, everyone. I have two announcements. First, we didn't use EasyCater for this meeting, which is why the food never arrived. Also, and I just thought of this, effective immediately, everyone will be paid in wildly volatile cryptocurrency. You're all now billionaires. And now you're broke.
Bad ideas happen when there's no food for the meeting. So make sure it's on time and as ordered from more than 80,000 restaurants. Now, EasyCater.
You're rich again. And now you're not.
Order 24/7 on EasyCater.com.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.